Okay. So last but not least, let's go over 6.7, number 25. So it says a lamina bounded by, or sorry, we're supposed to find the mass and center of gravity of a lamina bounded by the graph of y equals absolute value of x and the line y equals 1 if the density is 3. So let's take a look. All right, so for 25, we've got y equals absolute value of x, y equals 1, and the density is 3. Okay, so first of all, picture. Absolute value of x is going to be a v shape like this. And y equals 1 is just this horizontal line there. And so the region bounded by those curves is this thing here in the middle. The points of intersection are -1 and +1. Okay. So just like in 23, and I realize you might be viewing these out of sequence. Maybe you didn't watch the video for number 23, but if we want to find the mass, right, then we have to remember that density is mass over area, which implies that mass is density times area. So the very first thing we need to do is find the area of that lamina, or that of the region. So the area in this case is going to be the integral from -1 to 1 of, it's going to be 1 minus absolute value of x, right? So 1 minus absolute value of x. Okay, now integrating absolute values and differentiating absolute values for that matter is somewhat challenging. I mean, what you have to do is you have to somehow get rid of the absolute values, which it's helpful to think of this as kind of a piecewise thing. So notice that from -infinity all the way to 0, this is just a straight line. And then from 0 to +infinity, it's also a straight line, but it's a different straight line than the first one. Okay. Well, what is the equation for this straight line? Well, it's just -x, right? You're just going down 1, just going down 1 over 1, down 1 over 1. So that's -x. And here it's +x, going up 1 over 1, up 1 over 1, right? So +x. So we change rules right at 0. So that means I'm going to split this integral at 0. I'm going to say, well, okay, so from -1 to 0, I'm going to integrate 1 minus -x. And then from 0 to 1, I'm going to integrate 1 minus +x. Okay? And the rest is history. I mean, from there, it's not bad at all. I mean, so integral, from -1 to 0 of 1 plus x dx plus integral from 0 to 1 of 1 minus x dx. So this is x plus x squared over 2 from -1 to 0 plus x minus x squared over 2 from 0 to 1. That's going to be 0 plus 0 minus -1 plus 1/2 plus 1 minus 1/2 minus 0 minus 0. Okay. And let's see, here we get a -1/2, that negative makes it a positive, so it's 1/2, and here we have a positive 1/2, that equals 1. Okay, so there's the area of the region. So that means the mass of the lamina, delta times A, is going to be 3 times 1, which is 3. Okay. Now, as for the center of gravity, in this case, we've got a homogeneous lamina because our density is constant, right? Our density is just a constant number. And so whenever you have a homogeneous lamina, the center of gravity is the same thing as the centroid. And so you can just use the same formulas for the centroid that we used in all of the previous exercises, right? So x bar is 1 over area of region times the integral from, in this case we'll say from -1 to 1 of 1 minus absolute value of x dx. Or sorry, it's x times that, right? It's x times that. But once again, I'm going to split this integral. I'm going to say, well, this is really the integral from -1 to 1 of x times 1 minus negative x, which is really 1 plus x. Or sorry, from -1 to 0 dx. And then from 0 to 1, I'm going to have x times 1 minus x dx. Okay? And I don't think I'm going to finish it. Okay? But that's the idea there. For the y coordinate of your centroid, again, you're going to do 1 over area times the integral from -1 to 1 of 1/2 times 1 squared minus absolute value of x squared. That one is actually, I think, a little bit easier because whether you take whichever rule you use, when you square the absolute value of x, right, if it's negative x squared is going to be positive x, and if it's positive x squared is still going to be positive x. So, so this one I don't think you even need to split the integral, right? You can just say this is 1/2 times the integral from -1 to 1 of 1 minus x squared dx. Okay, so that's that one. And yeah, that's it for 25. Hopefully that helps.